All right. It's on recording now, and I want to welcome everyone to this session. And tonight we plan to look into requirement documentation. So last night we covered requirement gathering. Sequentially, after requirement gathering, you proceed to document what you gather from the stakeholder. It's important you do it immediately. If you put it, or if you recorded it, whichever way, it's important to do it immediately, so that you won't be missing important information. That's why detailed requirement documentation is a lot. It goes a long way to help you in the project. Okay, let's look at all the techniques, method we are going to use in documenting our requirements after gathering. Once you scale this, you gather requirements, document requirements, analyze requirements, you are now becoming a half-baked business analyst. And once you manage to do solutions evaluation, cost benefit analysis, and drafts a business case, you become a small business analyst. So I hope you can see my screen. If you are not seeing it, it means you're having network issues. And
we can see your screen, sir.
All right, thank you. Requirement documentation and modeling are critical tasks for business analysts after a requirement gathering meeting. This artifact captures the need and expectation of stakeholders and provide a clear foundation for project development. Effective documentation helps ensure alignment across all team and stakeholders, while modeling, visualization, process, and the requirements visualizes processes and requirements to identify gaps and inefficiencies. These are the first documents you are producing within this project as a business analyst. If you've done stakeholder analysis document, yes, but this is something you can equally adapt from project manager if project manager have done a good but in terms of core functionalities, requirement documentation is very important, because this is the first document you are producing for yourself for this project to understand what the stakeholders need. And the need for you to do a modeling is that it's going to help you to simplify the processes you are trying to understand. And with that, it's going to be very easy to spot all the gaps within the system. Most of the things we are going to be doing in business analysis is working on processes. Process of doing this, process of doing that, process of so. We are going to be streamlining all of them, removing inefficiencies, identifying the gaps and removing inefficiencies, reducing or eliminating waste within the processes. In our own case, like while we are implementing CRM system that is going to help us in lead and contact management. Lead management is a process. So we are looking at a process. We are trying to optimize a process, to streamline a process, to make sure that it becomes so efficient. We can get the maximum value from every lead engagement. If we start losing lead, that's how we start losing customer, because leads are potential customers. They are very, very important to organizations. This is how we are going to be winning more customers. So when this is optimized, it's going to help us in lead conversion rate. Lead conversion rate is going to increase, meaning that we are having more customers, meaning that we're having more revenues, and meaning that the company is growing. And that is what we are bringing to the table. So if you can, during an interview, if you can tell them, talk to them this way, they will know that you are a business analyst. Okay, let's look at key components of requirements documentation. We have requirement specification, we have process flow documentation, stakeholder requirement metrics, data requirements, user stories, use cases, risk assumptions. These are key components. So let's start from requirement specification. Requirement specification will have three types of requirement specification. We have functional requirements, we have non-functional requirements, we have business rule. You remember yesterday we talked about functional and non-functional requirements. What the system must do, that is functional. Non-functional requirements, system performance, security, and usability. So when you start documenting, you need to capture them in this categorical order. Then we'll have business rules. That's constraints or policies that the system must adhere to, like data protection, GDP, and the rest of them. These are compliance. So every system must comply. In today's business, data protection becomes important. So every system you are trying to develop or you are trying to procure for your organization must be data protection compliant. Another component is process flow documentation. Like I said, most of the things were issues we are going to be addressing in business analysis. We are going to be talking a lot about processes. Here we have as-is process and to-be process. So as-is process is the current state or the current process. So after requirement gathering, you need to understand the current process. That is what we call as-is, as it is. So these are called as-is process. The current process or system being used. In our own case, at this point, what is our as-is process or what is our current process? In marketing department, in sales department, everything is manual. How do we capture lead? How do we follow lead? How do we qualify lead? All these are still in the manual process. So we need to document it step by step on how to do it at the moment. We do not have CRM system. That is what we call ASIS processing. Then, what do we plan to achieve on this project? We plan to automate lead processes through CRM system. That is what we call to be the desired process or system after implementation. Then we have stakeholder requirement metrics, list of stakeholders, their expectation and specific requirements. You know, you talk to so many stakeholders. All the stakeholders you need, if you go back to our lesson notes for yesterday, that is important to read lesson notes. You will see that every stakeholder have their expectations. We have expectations. If you equally look at, I will share, I've given us project brief. I think there is a list of stakeholders in the project brief and their expectations as well. So you should list stakeholders and put their expectation below every stakeholder. That's what we call project stakeholder requirement metrics. Then we have data requirements, data input, output, and data processing need. We need to understand the kind of data we are going to have in this system, like the data sample. We need a data sample that need to be captured, or our CRM system need to have this kind of data sample. We need to understand the data sample. What we need to capture within is it their only email and phone of lead or customers or contact? What do we need? We need to understand the data, both input and output, and their processing need. How do we handle data? This is a requirement when we come to data protections. In data protection, you must specify the amount of data you want to collect from users or customers with your system at any point, how you plan to use those data, how long that data will stay in your system, and approval. These are the need. Everybody are collecting their data, they must give a consent that, yes, I'm happy for you to keep my data set in your system. User stories. We equally need to capture user stories. This is description of features from end user perspective, often in this format. When you want to start implementing, all the requirements must be translated into what we call technical requirements. In agile environment, we call them user stories. So you need to translate them into user stories so that the developers should be able to understand, because this is technical language. Developers, what they want to see is technical language. And it comes this way: as a user, I want to perform this action so that I can achieve this goal. So these are technical requirements. So it's part of the requirement documentation. You need to document it that way. We have use cases. Use cases. Use case means how the users are going to be using the system, how various users are going to be interacting with the system. The system we're talking here is a CRM system. Who are the users? We need to capture all the users. We call them actors. How are they going to be using the system? How are they interacting with the system? These are what we call use cases, called use cases and use case diagram as well. Risk and assumption. Risk associated with meeting requirement and key assumptions made during the documentation. All these are going to be part of the requirements documentation we need to capture. So you should learn how to document. It's not easy. It's not just that you had a meeting and they talk. Yes, everything you gather from them is your duty to document. There is not their duty. Their own duty is that you'll be asking them questions and they will be talking. You'll be capturing those. After everything, that their statements, you are going to translate it into a very beautiful documentation. That's where your journey starts. Then we have modeling, key modeling documents. After requirement documentation, we do requirement modeling, more especially if we are working within a process. And you can see here, we already stated about as this process and to be process. So for the fact there is as this process and to be process here, there is need for modeling after documentation. So we have this key modeling document. We have process map. After documenting, we need to translate this document into a process flow or process map. So for it to become more visualized, it's a visual representation of workflow, including both assist and to be processed. Then we have data flow diagram, illustrates how data move through the system. We have entry relationship diagram, define relationship between data entities. We have wireframe mockups, visual prototype of the system interface. Then we have swim lane diagram. This describe process divide into different lane for each owners or role. And then we have use case diagrams. Use case diagram is, we've talked about use case, is going to be visualized. We are going to create a diagram to visualize how users are using the system in a diagram. So when you are looking at the system, you don't need anybody to start reading or telling you. You already see how different users, how they are interacting with the system. So these are different things that need to be done during requirement documentation. It's not a one-off thing. Requirement documentation is not a one-off thing. You continue to document as you continue to capture, as you continue to progress in the project. Like here, at this point, what we just need is this first process map in this. So once we finish documentation, the first documentation, which is going to end in this as this process, to understand the current process and to be processed, we need to model them. As we continue to progress, we can then create stakeholder metrics. We continue to create data requirements, documents. We continue to then create user stories and acceptance criteria. We continue to create use cases. It's not a one-off, so it's a continuous process at different points. We are going to be creating this. Even this process, this modeling, what we need at this point is process map for Aziz and Toby. Other modeling documents like data flow, entry relationship, wireframe, mockup, swim lane, these are coming later in this like use case diagram. These are coming later within the project. This one is going to be within the solution design. So let's move and understand steps to create requirement documentation and modeling. After conducting requirement gathering, where we meet the stakeholders to identify the needs and challenges, organize the information, categorize requirements as functional and non-functional or data related, develop, assist, and to be model, analyze current flow and design future workflow, validate requirements with stakeholders. Once you've done this, you need a validation before you continue to make sure there is no error. That's what the purpose of validation. You send your work to stakeholders to see what you've done and give approval. If there is anything that needs to be corrected, it is at this point. Draft supporting model, like use case diagram or process map or flow diagram to support your every of the documentation, and then iterate and finalize. So it's going to take time for you to reach this point, but let's see how we move. It's going to be difficult for you to be understanding it just the way I'm saying it. So we need a case study to take this to your level so you understand it very well. That's what we're going to do. We're going to break it down. Looking at here, I'm going to use PayGo as an example. PayGo is a multi-agent remittance marketplace in London. The company lacks streamlined customer relationship management system for managing lead. The goal is to implement a CRM to improve lead management and tracking. So after requirement gathering session, this is what we understand from PayGo. We try to understand the way they currently handle their lead management and other things. So now we see here, this is processes, customer inquiry, and the owner, lead capture, agent, manual lead assessment, lead follow-up, lead updates, weekly reporting, and reporting and viewing analytics. So this is how it is at the moment. Most of all these are manual. Customer inquiry, what happened? Customer contacts agent via email or phone. Lead capture, lead information is manually recorded in Excel by agents. Lead follow, that is following up lead. Manual lead assignment, managers assign lead to agent manually. Or lead follow, agent contacts the lead for follow-up, and then update the lead status. Agents update the lead status in their individual Excel file. That is, all of us know what Excel document is. And weekly reporting, managers compile lead data from agents spreadsheet into a report. And reporting and review and analysis, management to review lead conversion rate manually. So you can see that is very much in a manual state. This is what you are going to, if you are going to go into a requirement gathering, these are what you are going to be asking, the kind of question. You are going to, if they have any customer that is part of your doing requirement gathering, or if there is not, then maybe you are gathering this requirement from, these are the people that are going to be in attendance in your requirement gathering. You have agents in your requirement gathering, and you have sales manager in your requirement gathering. To have these two stakeholders during the requirement gathering session, you ask questions. The question is, how do you talk to customer inquiry? How do you conduct customer inquiry? Now they will respond that customer contact agent via email or phone. That is, you are asking a question and they are responding. Then you ask, how do you capture lead at this moment? Lead information is manually captured and recorded in Excel. This is agent responding to you. You see it again. How do you conduct lead assignment? How do you assign lead to agent? They'll say manager assign lead to agent manually. Or alternatively, you can just tell the agent, can you give us a rundown on how you manage your lead at this moment? And it will give you this rundown. The agent will tell you, these are sales agents. That's what I mean by agents. The agents will tell you, yes, the way we do it at the moment is that during the lead, the customer inquiry, customer contacts agent via email or phone, and then the lead is captured. The lead information is manually recorded in Excel, and then the manager assigns lead to agent manually, and then agent contact the lead for follow-up, and then agent updates the status of the lead individual in Excel, and the manager compiles the lead data from agent in spreadsheet. This is agent, this is during interview, they are now flowing, telling you what is going on in their current state. So it's left for you that after the requirement gathering, you need to first put it in this way to look presentable. That is documentation after all the talking. Are you guys getting it? Is it difficult to do? I don't think it's difficult if you understand the process. So that's why I want to just create a table and what happened sequentially. Okay, this will give you the first as this process flow. This is how the lead happened manually. That is the current process. Then under the future process, then you then ask the agent, yeah, then tell us how do you want going forward? Yeah, you complain you people are struggling within this process. What do you really want to achieve with an improvement in this system? They will say, okay, we want a system where maybe customer can contact agent via email, phone call, or even web form. We can even use a web form where they can see now is no longer email and the phone. Now they've added web form where you can integrate web form within the CRM. And then the lead, you want a system where lead are automatically captured into a system. And then we want a situation where lead are assigned to agent based on predefined rules. So that is automated system. And we want a situation where the CRM can equally send us reminder of any follow-up. And if we want a situation where agents can update lead status in the CRM, not in the spreadsheet. And CRM can generate real-time dashboard for lead tracking and performance, and management review data, lead data, and trend in a dashboard. Now, the manager have told you, giving you a picture of what they want. So it's now for you to go and look for what can solve this problem and give them this kind of picture they are visualizing. So now you see where they are, and they're giving you a picture of where they want to be. We call it desired state. And yeah, so now you've documented this, and it's making sense now gradually. So if you give these documents to someone, the person, yeah, I can see what these people are looking for. Yeah, I can see they are looking for a CRM system and something like that. And then modeling. Before you can model, you need to break it down in a way that it's going to be easy for you to model. The as-is process map, you need what we call swim lane. Swim lane to be able to create a process map, a swim lane diagram to visualize the current manual process for lead management, and then a swim lane diagram showing the integration of CRM for lead capture and assignment and reporting. And then use this example here. Let's see, assign lead automatically, actor, CRM system, sales manager, and description automatically assign new lead to available agent based on predefined rule. And use a story example. As a lead manager, I want an automated lead assignment system so that agents can quickly follow up with potential customers. And the wireframe here, although we might not be using wireframe because we are going to use a system that is already designed. So we're not designing a system from the scratch. But a mock-up or a CRM interface showing the lead dashboard, filter, and reporting. So this is what the modeling document is going to look like. So now we've done this, let's look at how these documents are going to be drafted. Now, the first thing in a documentation is document control, that is versioning. You must create a version of every document. You must create a version control. So you can see as you are planning to create these documents, we start from here, version 1. So at any point we update this document, we call it version 1.1. It's important so you know how your document is, how you have been improving your document, how you started this journey and where. So it's very important. You don't just create documents without versioning. It's important as a BA, you know what version control is all about. And then the date created, the author review. Somebody must review it and approval. Or after every document, I told you that it must go for validation. After validation, the stakeholder that validated it and the date of approval means they've given you go ahead and continue. So here is a brief of executive summary. You need a brief of executive summary. In this case, you can see the executive summary is PayEgo, a multi-agent remittance marketplace based in London, aim to improve its lead management process through implementation of a CRM system. These documents outline the functional and non-functional requirements as is and to be processed and a comprehensive solution approach for the CRM implementation. And here you start with objective, say the objective and scopes. These are part of the things we are going to be discussing with the stakeholders. And even in our, at this point, you must have received a business case. If we go to the business case, some of the things are there, scopes are there. In scope and out of scope should be there. Business objective equally should be in the project brief. Then list of stakeholders. Here you have stakeholders and their expectations. All the stakeholders in attend, all the stakeholders you interviewed is here. Stakeholder, sales team, role, end user, and you see their stakes. So when we see identify stakeholders and their expectation, so you must state the expectation of each stakeholders. Here you see sales team, what they want, easier lead assignment and tracking. We have sales manager, that is interest, role and interest. What is their expectation? Real-time reporting and improved efficiency. Customers, timely response and better service. IT team, seamless integration with existing system. Senior managers, better insight into sales performance. So you see here, every stakeholder, you must try to capture all their expectations. So when we are saying identify stakeholders and their expectation, this is what we are talking about. And going forward, now all these are setting background so that somebody who does not know what this document is all about, from version control to executive summary, is now beginning to sync. This is the document. Somebody is reading, going through your document, is thinking, oh, this is what very gradually, and the stakeholders where that you gather this requirement from and what they expected. And down here, you start with requirements you gathered. This is where you start your requirements. This is functional requirements. You documented the functional requirements with their priority. I told you that you must prioritize the requirements to show which one is important and their level of importance and value. Here, functional requirement, you see, you have a unique identifier for every of these functional requirements. So, functional requirement 001, automated lead capture from email, phone, and web. which is high, and you see to assign lead to agent based on predefined rule and blah, 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 blah. You finish this one, you have to read this note. And then we come to non-functional requirements. You list all the requirements here. The first one here, non-functional requirements, the CRM system must be accessible 24/7. 2, the system must handle up to 10,000 leads monthly. 3, CRM must comply with GDPR data protection. And the system, number 4, system response to time must not exceed 2 seconds, meaning that the system must be speed enough. Now we've created functional and non-functional requirement document. This is it, very clear, with priority and unique ID. Then you have to then create the Aziz process flow. This is it. The current process is highly manual, involve capturing lead via Excel, manual assignment, and weekly reporting. You see the overview here. Now you start documenting it here. Customer inquiry. Customer, you state how the customer inquiry is being done. Lead capture, you state with who is doing it. Manual lead, you state how it's done and who does that. Follow up, you state who does that. Update lead status, you state how it's done and who does that. And 6, weekly reporting, how it does and who does that. That is the workflow here. That is what this will help you for your modeling. So then the to be, you give an overview. The new process with the CRM automation ensure that leads are captured, assigned, and tracked seamlessly, improving operational efficiency. And here you state customer inquiry. Now, every of other things you captured in the Aziz, you state how it's going to be, how the CRM is going to improve on them. Now, the CRM is going to improve on them. Customer contacts agent via email, phone, or web from integrated CRM. Automated lead capture. Lead are automatically captured in the CRM system. Automated lead assignment. Lead are assigned based on predefined rule. You can see all these things are now being done by system. You see, these 3 activities are now taking over. The system has taken over these 3 activities from the sales agents because they are now automated. Then, but in some cases, you see, agents is only few things that agents are now doing. Now they are freeing up spaces for agents to go and do other things because the system is taking over doing most of the job agents have been doing and even doing it better. So it's only here you see agents update lead status, agents update lead status in real time, real-time reporting. CRM generates real-time dashboard from lead tracking. See CRM and the reporting. This is it. Reporting and analysis, management, review the data and trend and the CRM. So you see, with the implementation of CRM, compare the Aziz you document here, where agent is doing a lot of things manually, and now with the adoption of CRM system, you see that 80% has been taken over by the system, and that is an improvement. So the agent will concentrate in doing other important work. Data requirements field for capturing lead details. Now, what we are seeing here is what we call data schema. No. Now, the data requirements here is we must have a name, we have contact information, we have inquiry type, and we have source. Data imports and exports functionality. So data can be imported or exported via Excel and other formats. Role-based access to ensure data security. The system must have a rule so that you can control access to this data. Not everybody can access it. And even if you can access it, some people can just view it, but they cannot delete, they cannot update. This is data we're talking about. So with any system we are bringing in, we must have this requirement. And then risk and mitigation. We capture the risk and mitigation here. Lack of user adoption. This is the risk, anticipated risk. User adoption. Provide comprehensive training for stakeholders. Data migration error. Conduct a trial migration and validate data. So before you start migrating, do a trial. Delay implementation. Define clear timeline and milestone. This will help to remove all these kind of risks that are associated with this kind of implementation. And success criteria, 90% of lead are captured automatically within the first month of implementation. Lead response time is reduced by 50% within the first quarter. Positive feedback from 80% of agents and managers within the first 3 months. And appendices, here we have use case, lead assignment automation, user stories, lead capture, assignment and reporting, process map, and yeah, some of these you attach them as appendices on your document. And then come down here is the modeling aspect of it. Now you've documented the requirements, but you are not done yet. Before you proceed to analysis, you can't just move to analysis. You need a document, you need a modeling. So when you model the ASIS process, this is how it's going to look like. This is ASIS process. You see the way you need a diagram like this to state how the movement is. That is it. And then after then, you come back here. You must create both ASIS and to be modeling here. So that's it. So for you to create this modeling, this is it. You need a detailed, break it down a bit to help you create the model you want to create. Looking at this, you start from lead acquisition, lead qualification, lead assignment, lead follow-up, lead conversion, lead reporting. So that's it. That's it, the ASIS here. That's what you need to. That is how we are going to use this to create this document, this diagram. That is ASIS, and then, yeah, ASIS and to be, create both of them. This is for to be, and you create it as well. And that is it. But tonight we are not going to do the modeling. Tomorrow we are going to learn how to create this using draw.io. So we are going to be technical, is going to be hands-on tomorrow. That's what we're going to do. Once we've done this, then yeah, well, this is where we are stopping tonight. We are not going into modeling tonight because of time. So if we want to model this, it's going to take time. It's not going to just be easy for us to complete it within 15 minutes. So because of that, we are going to reserve that for tomorrow. We'll do the modeling. So these requirements we documented. Both this is to be and this is as is. We've documented. We need to model them. So that is how we are going to create a good requirement documentation. Easy peasy. Yeah. Yeah, Doomsday. I know if you close your eyes now, you can create a very beautiful documentation. Okay, we'll have 15 minutes to ask the question. Yeah. Doomsday.
Okay, Mr. Charles, thank you very much. A lot of information has been shared to us this night, and I have a lot of questions, but let me start from the ones I can remember now. Um, while you were talking about um, stakeholders and identifying stakeholder and having a stakeholder matrix for the business case, is it a business case? Sorry if I'm not getting the term right.
This is
Um,
requirement documentation we are doing.
yes, sir. Sorry, for the requirement documentation. What I want to confirm is the stakeholder analysis that have been done in cause of our work breakdown structure, have stakeholder identification in the initial stage already. During the requirements gathering, do you still do another stakeholder analysis, or you stick with what has already been done?
Is going to help you to create an updated one. That's why once you've done the first one, mind you, the first one you did here, you identified stakeholders. You didn't understand all their expectation, you know. But if you have during the requirement gathering, that is when you are now understanding the expectation. So based on all the stakeholder analysis, you just go from there, pull all the stakeholders, come here and start putting their expectations. So for instance, now let me take it back small where we capture this. Yeah, you can see here, you see stakeholders. If you have done your stakeholder analysis, it's going to, in this document, you must capture stakeholders as well. But that is not the stakeholder analysis document. That's another document you can be using to manage your stakeholders. But why it's important is that in most of the things you are doing, you still need to be talking about stakeholders and what they want. Now here, you state stakeholders. You already know the stakeholders. You come here and be stating based on the interview or the requirement gathering you just finished. If it's all the stakeholders you identify or you interviewed, now you are now stating what their expectation from this project. You can see what every stakeholder, their expectation. Just simple document like this, and it's very clear. Stakeholders and their expectations. Very simple.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah. Okay. I see people, somebody like Abba, I've seen you are very indecision is worrying you. You raise your hand to yeah, you have to talk. Even before now, we have
Yeah,
been I
shut up.
in
Yeah. Good evening, sir. Sorry. No, sir. I wanted to ask the same question that Winkwa asked about creating stakeholder expectation. As in, is the business analysis going to use the same one that the project manager going to create? It was same question, so I had to raise that my hand.
If the stakeholder created a good stakeholder analysis document, you can borrow it from the stakeholder. But mind you, the way you are going to be relating with the stakeholders will be different from the way the project manager. So you better tailor your own stakeholder analysis document to your own, the way you want it to be. So you can't use a generic stakeholder method of communication, frequency of communication with the project manager. Their relationship is different. They are big man talk to big man, because he's the project leader. So the way he relates with stakeholders is going to be different from you. He's going to be doing a lot of reporting, what is going on in the project, maybe periodically. You'll be looking for stakeholders when you need clarification about requirements. So both of you have different roles. So if you are trying to just go copy and paste, it might not really work exactly like that.
For the PA. Okay. So about these functional and non-functional requirements, I didn't get that very well. Are they like maybe what the CRM system is supposed to do and what is not supposed to do? I don't get it very well, sir. Please.
Okay. When we talk about functional requirements, functional requirements are features. The system has features. Functions are features. That is, what kind of features do you want this CRM system to have? These are functional requirements. What do you want to, like here, a CRM system must have a lead management feature. Let me see if I still have any of the CRM system open here. Let me see. I've closed them. Okay. Hope it's going to open. Okay, it's taking time to load, but it's loading. So this is a CRM system. This is a CRM system I'm working on at the moment. This CRM system under configuration, this is Dynamics 365 CRM Sales Hub. Now, what we call functional requirements, you see lead, this is lead management. You must have this feature. This is functional. This is opportunity. This is functional. This is account. This is contact. So that is what we mean by functional. These are all the features we want from this CRM. You see this CRM, you see you have marketing campaign. These are all the things you can do with this CRM. They are called functional requirements. But there's other things here. We want this CRM to do that you cannot see here as features. And this is the speed of this CRM. Like now, if I want to, you see it's taking time to load. In a situation like that, we want the speed to be faster. This is non-functional requirement. The speed, because you cannot see the speed, but it do exist. Security feature, this you cannot see the security feature of this here, but it do exist. You know, so many other things that we cannot see with our naked eyes here, and it's still working. Some of the requirement, compliance requirement, these are non-functional, but it do exist. So, but all these ones, you see, sales accelerator, activities, dashboard, accounts, contact, lead, opportunities, you know, these are what we call functional. And we have lead here. Some of these lead, if you go to different CRM, the way some lead work might be different from others. So if you see lead here, you can see all the other things that we can do from the lead. So let us not go into deep now because it might become, and we don't have time. That's just it. But that is what is functional and non-functional.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. I don't get it.
All right. Okay. I think we are done. I think I've spoken with you. Dumdi, are you still raising up your hand again?
Yes, sir. Please, I am.
Okay.
Just remembered my second question.
Okay.
Okay, my question is talking about still on the stakeholders, still on the stakeholders. On this project, this to pay project that we are working on, the stakeholders that we have there, like the sales manager, the IT team, are we going to be meeting with the IT team for to pay already? Like so that we can get to know them and also interview them, or I just need clarity on the stakeholders that we have on our project brief.
The stakeholders you meet is not whom you want, it's about who is playing a role. You don't want to, because you are implementing a CRM, you want to meet the CEO, you want to meet what are you doing, with whom are you capturing requirements from? At this point, the stakeholder you need are those people who are having issues with their place of work, which is sales department. They are the people working on lead. You need to first understand their pain points. You don't have any issue with the technical team at this point, because you don't even know what you are going to do. You don't have any solution yet. So what are you doing with the technical team at this point? At some point, you meet them. You meet stakeholders when you need them. Are you getting my point?
Yes, sir.
When there is need for you to meet developers, you meet developers. If you meet developers now, what are you going to tell them? Do you have any requirements? Do you have any solution? Have you identified solution? There is so. Any time you are meeting them, do you know they are getting paid for them to come and listen to you because it's part of the work? Do you have budgets to cover them, all the developers you want to speak with? Sitting down and listening to you and talking to you is work, and that is money. So you need to talk to people at any point needed, not so. But it's good to identify stakeholder, but you need to meet them when needed. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, especially.
Nkechi, you are raising your hand.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Okay, I'm actually finding it hard to balance the role of the roles and documentation as per PM and as per BA when you're maybe employed in as a BI, like doing both PM and BA at the same time.
Okay, you are struggling to understand the role of PM and BAs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Employed to represent this role, those both roles at the same time in a company or in a project.
Okay. We don't have time to talk about this. It's going to be detailed, but we have a document we've shared. I've shared a stakeholder work breakdown structure template. Did any of you see that document?
Yes.
So if you have it, what are you struggling with there?
The documentation aspect, I would say. Okay, with regard to, okay, let me just follow it up with the question so far. Let's say, for instance, the stakeholder thing, would you meet them separately as PM and as BA respectively? Or you could do it at once and then develop the different documents later?
If you are employed as a BA and a PM, you can do it at the but in most cases, you might not be working as a PM and as a BA at the same time. So if you look at that breakdown structure, you meet stakeholders as a BA, not as a PA during requirement gathering. It's not the duty of PM. If PM is available, the PM will be there as a stakeholder in that project. But if the PM is not available, that's not a problem. You can go alone and capture your requirements as a BA. You know? So that is that's how to do it. But I will share the document again, and I think yeah, if you are still struggling, then we can because we don't have time, you can drop a message in our WhatsApp. We'll take it up from there. We don't have time at this point to expand more on that. No.
Okay, thank you, sir.
All right. So thank you, everyone, and tomorrow we continue from where we stop. Continue on requirement modeling, and yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Chance.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Charles.
Thank you, Mr. James.
Thank you. Thank you.